Now let us talk about blood sugar management in perioperative period. Various studies have shown that maintaining the blood sugars within a physiological range is a very important parameter or measure to reduce morbidity and mortality around cardiac surgery. So preoperatively, if someone has got high blood sugars, uncontrolled sugars more than 250, then it is better to put off their cardiac surgery unless the surgery is an emergency, or if the patient is got unstable angina or some other emergency situation where we have to take the risk because life is important than having morbidity. So except for such exceptional situations, wherever possible, if the patient has got uncontrolled sugars, it is better to postpone the surgery by at least a week or two and get the blood sugars to be controlled well before taking a patient for surgery. And the best thing to do when patient gets admitted for surgery is to keep them on their own medication till the night before surgery. So if someone has been on tablets like metformin or glimepiride or Janumet or whatever the medication their diabetologist has prescribed previously, and if the sugars are controlled very well, then it is better to leave them on their own medication before surgery. And on the morning of surgery, depending on the sugars, the anesthetist would advise whether any insulin should be given or not. Post-operatively, it is very important in all diabetic patients to maintain sugar levels within physiological range, at least less than 180 milligrams per dl. So in the post-operative period, particularly in diabetic patients, it is very important to control the blood sugar levels. And often we resort to starting an insulin infusion using human Actrapid as the insulin of choice. Now the parameters used for, or the sliding scale, what we call as, that is used commonly in cardiac surgical patients, can be variable. But the most important aspect of blood sugar management is to control the sugars under 180 and use as much insulin as possible to make that happen. People are often very afraid of giving high doses of insulin in the post-operative period. But believe me, it is safe, but at the same time we need to use our common sense to give boluses of insulin when necessary. The reason why I say it's safe is because we are monitoring the blood sugars if need be on an hourly basis. So if you happen to give a high dose of insulin, do not hesitate to check again the blood sugar levels within an hour's time to ensure that the patient is not going to hypoglycemia. The usual fear of giving insulin on the wards is because if you give a bolus dose as a subcutaneous dose and a patient goes into hypoglycemic episode, then it will be difficult to manage them on the wards, or you have to give them sugars or IV fluids and all. But in an ICU situation, the intravenous access is already available and you are doing the measurements on a regular basis. And if someone's sugars are say 400, and if you give them some 10 units or 15 units of bolus of insulin, their sugars are not going to precipitously fall below 50. So it is a matter of using common sense. At the same time, if you are not sure, please take senior advice and then give the appropriate dose of insulin and get the sugars under control as soon as possible following cardiac surgery and maintain them within the physiological limit so that patient's recovery will be better. Because high sugars have been associated with endothelial damage, increased thrombogenicity, early graft occlusion, wound infections, sepsis, and all the known complications of cardiac surgery, including stroke. The rates of these get increased when the sugars are not controlled properly. The other reason why it's a challenge to control blood sugars, even in otherwise well-controlled diabetic, in post-operative situation, is because the surgical trauma itself will increase the corticosteroids and adrenaline levels and the artificial adrenaline that we are giving. All these together, put together, will be acting against insulin of the patient's body and tend to increase the sugar levels. And this response to stress and response to trauma, which is the flight-fight response, remains for the first 4 to 6 weeks following surgery. So again, in the post-operative period, when the patient is about to be discharged, it is very important to emphasize to the patient that their sugars need to be monitored closely, and they need to make frequent visits to the diabetologist and ensure that their sugars are controlled properly for a proper recovery and a hassle-free recovery and a complication-free recovery. So, human actrapid in the immediate post-operative period in the ICU is the best way to treat, and we treat that intravenously. So, do have a sliding scale for each patient and ensure that nurses follow that. And if the sliding scale is not working for a particular patient, then you need to alter the sliding scale, escalate it so that the sugars are controlled. The ultimate goal that we are looking for is proper sugar control. As has been explained elsewhere in the videos, elevated sugar levels also contribute to increased lactic buildup and increased ketoacidosis, and which in effect will turn out to be metabolic acidosis. Metabolic acidosis, whenever it persists, it changes the milieu in which the cells are working and reduces the efficacy of inotropes, and hence the cardiac output, again even cardiac muscle contractility will be reduced in an acidotic milieu. So in all these situations, the outcome can be affected and can sometimes lead to the death of the patient. So it's not to be taken light, and it is a very important thing to have a good control of blood sugars in the immediate post-operative period following cardiac surgery.